Leave this video understanding how to do a really effective recovery on an air-cooled chiller in the decade plus years that I've spent learning how to do all this. Hi, how you doing? I'm Holden Schamberger. I'm with HVAC Time and Chiller Academy. I specialize in chiller systems. We're going to be talking about air-cooled recovery today. Now, the very first thing I'm going to dive into is the pumps themselves. So there's two pumps that I could really recommend from personal experience. The first is going to be the Appion G5 Twin. It's an incredible pump. Really enjoy it. You can move liquid through it. Now, you have to do it a very specific way. Ultimately, all your hoses have to be open. No core depressors, no Schrader cores in any of the lines, which a lot of the lines with an air cooled or just in chillers in general, you'll be dealing with service valves. So there really shouldn't be too many cores in the first place. Either way, one other thing you want to be careful with is whatever core tools or whatever like little stubby ball valves or such that you would use, that I use, you want to make sure that they're actually full port. I've had situations in the past, they weren't full port. Like a uni weld, actually, that actually happened with an RTAA, trying to do a pump down recovery, and we were having trouble. A pump kept binding up. Well, it turns out that the uni weld was restricted by design. So changed it out with a different brand, Yellow Jacket specifically. That's my daily carry, and no issues. Worked perfectly fine. So the G5 Twin is incredible. You can pump liquid with it. You have to do it a specific way. Otherwise, yes, you will tear it up. That is something it's known for. The other one is a Navic NRDC4M, an incredible recovery machine. It's much larger. It is heavier, but it's got a really good built-in subcooler. And if you're doing a lot of gas recovery, it's great. So for the direct recovery process, it is an incredible pump. It's also very good with push-pull, and it and the G5 Twin will go head-to-head in that category. Moving into the actual recovery processes. So the very first one I think you should get familiar with, and not something that you've possibly been trained on much in the past, is push pull. So with a push pull, you're going to come out of your liquid line, ideally, of the chiller. You're going to come into the liquid port of your recovery cylinder. You're going to come out of the vapor port and go to your recovery inlet. Then out of your recovery inlet, you'll then go into a vapor port, maybe the suction line of your air-cooled chiller. And that process creates this loop where the liquid is flowing into our recovery tank. We're pulling the vapors off of that tank, and we're making the pressure drop in the tank enough that we have a pretty high volume, and our tank pressure never builds like a normal recovery would, because we're drawing the vapors off. So we just stack that tank full of liquid, and then we pump all the vapor back into the chiller, which isn't going to cause any issues. You're not going to build the head pressure problems you have with a direct recovery, especially in a warm day in sunlight. The big Achilles heel to push pull is you have to be able to access the liquid. One of the issues with air cooleds, there's not a easy place to just get all the liquid on a lot of machines. There's some chillers you walk up to, it's super easy. The liquid line, there's a low spot, or there's plenty of locations to just fairly easily access that liquid refrigerant. That is not the case with a lot of air cooled. So when you run into those, if you can get to the liquid refrigerant, do the best you can and just try to get what you can out. If you can't get that liquid refrigerant, or you hook up and you think you're going to get it, but yet you're just not really getting much liquid refrigerant out, you just stop. Don't waste your time. Move on. Go to a direct recovery. There are some machines that this just isn't going to work out for. How do you know if you're moving liquid? You got a couple of options. One, liquid will stack weight in the tank pretty quickly, so if you're monitoring your tank weight, you'll know that way. Two, the hose going to the tank will have a lot of bounce to it. So if you got a hose that is just dead still and it's not really moving, and I mean literally bouncing as the refrigerant flows, then you've probably not got liquid going through there. So those are you could also grab the hose itself and you can feel the flow. So those are some of the key indicators, if you will, that I'm looking for. So if that's not working and we're having trouble, or say we've pumped all the liquid we needed to get out, and say there's just a little bit of liquid or it's just vapor left in the system, we still have to recover that. Well, then you're just going to hook up for a direct recovery. A direct recovery is just like what you're already used to. Okay, that's just I'm just putting a term to uh, what that process is. You're going to go from the chiller to the inlet of your recovery machine, out the recovery machine into your recovery cylinder. That's it. I do recommend, especially if you have a lot of vapor or if you still have a lot of liquid to pull, have a subcooler involved. Even if you never overheat the tank to where you have to, like, say, put water on the tank. One of the big things about a subcooler is it'll substantially speed up your recovery process. So I highly recommend using it. It'll help keep your tank temperatures down, which will then help you move a lot more volume, which just speeds up the entire process. With air-cooled chillers, because they only get so big, they top out around 550 in terms of total tonnage. And you're talking a refrigerant charge of, I mean, the biggest ones I've seen for air cooled are, I don't know, 400 or 500 pounds at the top end. And with a lot of newer designs, they're finding ways on cutting back on that charge even further, but still maintain capacity. Regardless, I don't think you need to invest in a industrial recovery system just to do air cooled service. If you're doing water cooled and you're getting into really big centrifugals, absolutely, but not for air cooled. And a lot of times where they're at to access them, just impractical to get those up there. So that's why these portable options that I recommended by Appion or Navic are incredible for what we do and will serve you really, really well. And if this has been helpful to you and you'd like to be a part of a much bigger community where you can get troubleshooting support, you can get mentorship, and we can just come together and work together to help you out. And you'd also like some really good high-level education that's structured, that can go with you in the field. You can actually apply it directly to what you're working on with your instructor right there. Go to chilleracademy.com. Everybody enrolled in a course gets access to the community as just part of your benefits package. And we're all there to help and support, give you troubleshooting assistance, whatever it is you need. That is chilleracademy.com. With that, MTT, make the time for your family, for your spouse, for your kids. I really appreciate you. We'll see you around.